Is this on tape?
Yeah, that's all. That's.
This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Athletics.
Leaping at the ball, it's gone! A towering drive into center field by Rooker.
And 29 other MLB clubs.
A judging blast. All rise. Here comes the judge.
Swung on, hit high, hit deep to right, away back into the second deck.
Bobby Witt Jr. becomes the first shortstop in Major League history to have two 30-30 seasons.
Shohei Ohtani starts the 50-50 club.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe, from humidors to walk-off dingers to Hall of Fame talk. We have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Cody Elias, Chris Townsend, Steve Sax with you another day. Or should we call ourselves the Dream Team? Or do we need to come up with a better name?
I'm Larry Bird. You can be Jordan.
All right. Yeah.
I'll be Chris Mullen.
You'll be Mullen. You'll be Christian Leitner.
I'm just there.
Thank you. I'll be Jordan. Yeah.
You can be Jordan.
I'll be Michael Jordan. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
like
you are the former player, so it makes sense.
I like North Carolina.
How you guys doing?
Good. What's up, Cody? Townie?
Well, hopefully we end
These
this.
are beautiful. I like these.
Oh, yeah, we got Townie and I got our 5 years of service today.
Wow. Nice.
Now we're on year
Love it.
6, but we got our 5 years of service. So great to see.
Yeah.
I'm glad we finally got it.
So I left 95.7 the game, sports station in San Francisco. I was already working for the A's technically, but it was more all the years I got paid. I was an independent contractor. I came over as a full-time employee. I was also working for the Raiders at the time.
Uh-huh.
Then I stole Cody and brought him over, and they finally gave us our 5 year.
Beautiful.
We're beyond
love
5
that.
years now, but
We're at 6.
we're at 6 years.
Yeah, we're at 6
This
now.
is a year late.
Well, when they gave them out, we were at the winter meetings in Dallas, so we missed the all-staff meeting then. So that's why, like, you and I and Olivia from PR got theirs. We all got ours today because we weren't there.
Oh, that is
And
good.
Ben Lowry from Baseball Ops, we all got ours today because we weren't there for the meeting.
Congratulations, you guys.
Thank
now,
you.
do I get to possibly look forward to this?
I mean, yeah,
is it- that's 5
You only
years.
got about 4.5 more years
Four
to
and a
go.
half? Yeah.
It'll be in Vegas.
Okay. Whatever. Good to go. Did you see Townie and I both got the memo on the dress today?
Yeah, you got the same shirt. I mean,
Same shirt
you
and
guys
same
kinda-
pants.
well,
Yeah.
I did not notice that part.
Did you see that? It's the same thing. Yeah.
We're ready to rock.
Ready to rock, bro.
We got a great show for you
I
today.
know we do. We got Jeffrey Springs is going to come and join the program for the first time since spring training. He'll be coming up sometime in the 5 o'clock hour. Our A's historian, David Feldman, is here to my left. He'll be coming up in a few minutes.
He has on an official Major League Baseball shirt, so I'm going to say he's scorekeeping tonight. Yep, he's official.
Yep,
Official
he
score?
gave us a nod.
He's not a TV honk tonight. He's an official Major League Baseball person tonight.
Martín Gallegos, MLB.com, will be here at 5:30, and we're going to have Derek Stevens from Circa, who's throwing out
The owner.
The owner. He's throwing out the first pitch today at the ballpark in West Sacramento, so that's the show. So David Feldman in a few minutes, Jeffrey Springs, Derek Stevens from the owner of Circa, and Martín Gallegos. So action-packed show. Oh, and a little listener. We'll probably play it on Friday, but you guys can use it tomorrow on A's Cast on NBC Sports California. You and Steve Sax will be taping an interview in the dugout with our good friend, Ron Washington.
Nice. That'll be fun.
That'd be great.
You good? Yep. I got a question for Dave when he gets on here. I got a
Well,
good one for him.
he usually has an answer for everything. So
Okay. I'm sure he does.
that's why he's our A's
Well, yeah, that's why
historian.
we bring
his
him
story
on.
for a reason, right?
Yeah, it's why he's our A's historian. So
Okay. That's good.
hopefully today we can end this 7-game losing streak.
Yeah, this has been pretty painful to watch, and it's hard to talk about sometimes because we are I'm an A's fan. I mean, I played for the team, and so you want them to do good. You try to be unbiased, but sometimes you got to just call it like you see it, and but hopefully they can get out of this funk. And look, even the good teams, the great teams in history have gone through these things. A team that's stacked and loaded with talent and money that you can only imagine. The Dodgers are going through the same thing. They got swept by the Angels. I mean, so it happens, and you grind through it. That's what you do.
Problem is there's no track record here with this group, so they've got to figure out how to win. This group hasn't figured out how to win. This group hasn't figured out how to do it consistently. So we can sit there and say everybody goes through it, but this group has no success together. Something, they had a little something going for a while. It's not there now. And I don't see, maybe you can talk to it. It's, I mean, pitching usually sets up a lot. When you pitch well, everything kind of falls in line. When you don't pitch well, you're constantly playing from behind. But, you know, one of the things we'll get into today in our Diamond Notes is, I mean, Brent Brooker's not hitting. Soderstrom's not hitting. Lawrence Butler's not hitting. Jacob Wilson's not in the lineup today. Soderstrom has hit. Andujar's hit. But that's, I mean, you really have, you had 3 guys who have hit. One's not in the lineup today. But your big guns are not supplying anything, and you're struggling to keep the ball in the yard, and you're struggling to pitch.
Yeah, when you talk about they're not hitting, I mean, it's usually 1 or 2 guys that are, you know, kind of in a funk, and then the rest of the guys pick them up. When you have it collective as a unit, it really gets emphasized that, you know, you guys are really struggling to put the ball over the fence. We know that. You're struggling to put the ball in play. There was a couple times yesterday where they got a couple of big hits when they needed it. You score 5 runs. If you score 5 runs, you're probably supposed to win the game. And this one thing that it's funny you mentioned about the pitching. The starting pitchers have pitched fewer than 5 innings in 5 of the last 9 starts, and they're 1-6 with a 6.85 over that span. They're 14-21 for the season. That's the starter. So they've had a bit of a rough patch, but it's not saying they haven't had some good points, and they can pitch themselves out of it too.
Since the series started against Seattle, so the last 14 games, I went back and looked at the numbers. Team ERA 6.93, 27 home runs allowed, a 2.92 opponent's batting average, a 9.01 OPS, opponent's OPS, and they're allowing an average of 1.95, almost 2 home runs per game. That's got to get better. And then the bullpen over the past 14 games, an 8.40 ERA. All those things need to get better going into these.
I mean, it's right there. It's obvious what has to happen. When your bullpen has an ERA, as he pointed out, what exacerbates the whole situation and gets to that point is when you walk people when you come out of the pen. You got to throw strikes. You must throw strikes. I would much rather see a guy hit one in the gap than walk him. At least if he hits the ball hard, he might hit it at somebody. You know, even in batting practice, you don't hit every ball good. So I would like to see them earn it more than the walks. And it seems too, when you're going through this point like this, every time you walk somebody, they score, doesn't it, Tony? Every time they walk, they score.
Walks are death.
Yes, absolutely.
But to me, there's a body language problem. They don't look. We saw glimpses when they were going well. What they looked like, it just human beings, body language plays a big part. I can look at you when you walk in here every single day. David Feldman, just come on. Dave Feldman's going to join us here. If he walks up and he's in a bad mood or he doesn't look good or he's not feeling good, I'm going to see it, right?
Yeah, of course.
I'm going to see it in all of us.
You communicate much more with your language than you do with your words.
So we can sit here and data you and numbers you to death, but just something, just at least these last few games, it hasn't looked right. Welcome.
Hi, boys.
Hey, what's up, David?
It's great to be here.
Yeah.
It's my season debut.
Yeah.
Usually we're doing our top 10s, but we're not doing a top 10.
No, we're gonna talk a little bit.
Yeah. My question is to you: when you're in the position you are as an official scorer, do you have anybody that tries to butter up to you, either like beforehand or? I mean, I would. I want to be friends with you, brother. If you're going to be an official scorer, I mean, do you see any of that, or is it just what?
Not as much.
Okay.
Back in the day when you were playing, official scorers and players had a lot more interaction.
Okay.
Official scorers would be in the clubhouse. Sometimes they'd be ex-riders. You'd see them down there. That's sort of gone away now. They've kept the scorers away from the players. You know, players now can appeal calls on their own right to the league. They don't need to lobby the scorer anymore.
They can appeal a base hit or an
error. They can appeal anything.
Wow.
They can appeal just about anything.
I didn't know that.
And you will see.
How does that work?
Yeah.
So once a call is made, they have basically a day to appeal. And it's an app on their phone, just like everything else. The players can write the appeal themselves, or sometimes their agent might do it, but it's supposed to come from the player. And they will say why they think a certain thing should be a hit or an error. And then it goes to a scoring committee that's made up of former players. And those players then will judge it.
I've never heard of that.
I didn't realize it was on an app. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
it's on an app. It's
That
you
is
know,
incredible.
there are some really bad appeals. I mean, because players are begging for hits, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I can
They're
imagine.
always begging. So I actually wish there was some sort of fine if you like make a terrible appeal.
Yeah.
You know, it goes to charity, whatever it needs to do,
Yeah.
because otherwise guys are just appealing everything. Gets a little out of hand.
Yeah. Is there ever some situation where they say, I know I got a hit on that, but I think it was probably an error. I think you should take the hit away. Have you ever had one of those?
I've never had one of those, but we've had fielders come back and say that error should be on me, not on the first baseman, or something like that.
Okay,
flip it around. You know, I always think the worst appeal is when a pitcher throws their fielder under the bus.
Ooh.
Right, like something gets scored a double and he thinks it should be an E5, and the pitcher will put the appeal in saying that's a playable ball, that was routine.
Wow.
And I'm like,
really?
Whoa.
I mean, can't this cause dissension on the team?
I would think it could.
I mean, can't one player say, why are you appealing everything? What about our team? I mean,
But the question is, it's in an app.
Yeah.
So will the third baseman even know that the pitcher did it?
If it gets changed,
it's public then.
They will then know, because all of a sudden a play gets changed and they're like, well, how did that get changed? I'm sure the pitcher's going to crow about it and say, hey, I was right. See, it was your fault.
My ERA went from 2.5 to 4.1.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Oh, gosh, that's some. I didn't
know that. I didn't realize there was an app that they're able to do that.
I'm glad I asked a stupid question.
They actually, a few years ago, this was part of the collective bargaining with scoring, you know, and scoring has become such a hotter topic now because of gambling, right? Because of prop bets. You can bet on the next pitch, the next at bat. So they want scoring to be as correct as possible. And we've done a good job over the last few years of being very consistent. It used to be, right, a base hit in Kansas City was an error in New York. Well, now it's more consistent. A hit is a hit in any ballpark.
Wow. I'm shocked that it's that deep.
What kind of pressures are there when you're scoring? I mean, you've been doing it a long time, but what? Just take us through the pressures, because obviously these guys are paid on their numbers.
They are, and I think you just want to be right. I mean, I take pride in the job. Like hopefully, like the players take pride in theirs. You want to be correct. I've watched a lot of baseball, so I think I have a good handle on what plays can be made and won't be made. But you do feel the pressure to get it right.
Yeah.
You know, a play will be just, you know, a hard shot to the second baseman that maybe knocks him down, but he gets back up on his feet in time to make the throw, but he makes a terrible throw.
Yeah.
Well, that's a two-part play, right? He robbed the guy of the hit when he snagged the one hopper, and then he got up, had time, and threw it away. Yeah. That's an error. And then that's the play that gets the most talked about, right? These two-part plays. Because like, well, but he made a great stop. Like, yeah, he did that part. But there's that second part where he needs to make the throw.
Now, is it subjective enough where you say, well, that fielder is Jacob Wilson, and I see him make that play. This guy is so-and-so, and he can't really get there, so it's going to be a hit for him, but an error on Wilson.
You know, it's tough. We try and not think that way. Yeah. We got to think for the average major leaguer, can he make that play? Okay. And Eric Chavez used to talk to me about it. He always thought he got dinged for plays that no other third baseman's even going to get to the ball, and he gets to the ball and he gets called for an error on it. And so I try and be conscious of that, right? Yeah. That there are certain plays that only the Nolan Arenados of the world can make. So you can't judge everybody on that. It's got to be the average major league play. And I think, you know, we've seen enough baseball. When the ball's hit off the bat, right away, you have a pretty good idea if that's going to be an out or a hit.
Sure.
Yeah. And when it's not an out, you go, oh, what happened there? That's probably an error.
Yeah. Right.
All right. Looking at some things going on with the ball club, you know, you heard what we were saying. I mean, we can bring up all the numbers. It's just something just doesn't look right. Would you agree with that?
I do. And you know, bad body language, right? Yep. BBL. It is something. We've seen it most of the year from Lawrence Butler. Hasn't been quite right. JJ Bleday does not look like the same player. And the stats and the metrics are telling you he's not the same player. And he's the worst defensive outfielder in baseball. He's not making plays. It is an issue. And you talked about like not having that experience of winning. And I think back to last year, they were 17-17. They just scored 20 runs against the Marlins. Then they lose the Sunday game. They gave up 12. Lucas Ursa gives up a 2-run homer to Corey Seager on the Monday. And all of a sudden, from 17-17, for the next 40 games, they go 9-31. 9-31. And the season now is over, right? They do have a very good second half. And that's what we all talked about, how good they were in the second half. But this team is, I think, in a different position now where they're not supposed to go 9-31. And this is where you're teetering on the edge. You're on a 7-game losing streak that has to stop now because you don't want a repeat of that.
Yeah, that's true. What do you think?
I think teetering is the perfect way because I feel that way.
Yeah. And when you talk about the body language, I mean, this stuff kind of spreads around a little bit, one guy does, and, kind of like, it's like a little virus that goes around when you talk about body language. And the way you can change it, I think, is you need something to facilitate the change. You need somebody come up with a grand slam in a big position. Somebody's got to come up and pitch a 2-hitter. You need a blooper over the first baseman's head that rolls around forever and everybody scores. You need something to happen like that.
Yeah, you need to change your luck a little bit.
Yeah,
this ballpark
exactly.
for the A's so far this year they get no breaks here. It seems like, right? And they've lost a lot of games and they give up a lot of home runs. It just doesn't seem like the same team that we see when they're on the road. They need to put together, and this would be a great time to start, some wins together at home and start feeling it. And maybe it takes that. Maybe it takes, a walk-off hit tonight and come back out tomorrow. And Severino, who struggled here all year, just shoves, and they beat the Angels. I think that starts the momentum. But you need something to change the way people feel about playing.
I agree with that 100%. And, it can happen. I've seen teams before struggle, and I've seen them do it great. And the A's were one of the teams, I think, was back in, what year was this? 2000 and early 2001. Yeah, they were the best team in the first half, and they were the worst in the second half. And the Giants did that too, right around the same time. And how could that happen? I mean, how can it just go from so good to so bad?
Yeah, it's amazing how long a baseball season is too, right?
It is.
When you think about it, that
it's longer than a season. You got spring training, you got postseason, you got preparation coming in,
and you can go for these 2 months and be bad, and then get it together. You can be the Atlanta Braves, who got off to a slow start this year, and then got together, got back up to 500. Right. 2001 A's, who were terrible, 2-8 to start, 8-18, and then you win over 100 games because that's how long the season is. But you got to turn it around now. You can't have the 9-31.
No,
9-31. You have to start winning ball games.
Yeah, well, look at this Angel squad. First 14 went 9-5. Then their next whatever, they were horrible. And now their last 14, they're 9-5. So it's a game of runs. You're going to have runs. The thing about this team, Feldy, is that this is who the A's are. So if you're going to turn it around, you've got to turn around with the guys you have in uniform right now.
And you brought it up. Brent Rooker. We haven't been seeing the Brent Rooker we saw last year. Soderstrom got off to a great start hitting home runs. He's had 1 home run in over a month now. Where'd that power go? Langoliers is what Langoliers is. Right? I think he's a guy who gets hot at sometimes, and then he's going to have offers. But you need the J.J. Bledays. You need Lawrence Butler.
Yep.
You need these guys to fill it in. Miguel Andujar, who I love as a hitter, I still want to see more slug from. Mm-hmm. I don't want singles from Miguel Andujar. I want doubles and homers, and we're not getting that yet. But you need that to score runs.
Yeah, no question about it. And, when it comes down to it, it's all about pitching to me, Dave. Yeah. I mean, this team is built to slug. You're going to go through some times where the home run's going to be absent, but you got to keep in games. You got to figure out a way to manufacture some runs. And they've been getting guys on base, and the slug hasn't been there. Before it was the opposite. Slug there, no manufacturing. So the pitching has got to be constant. And that's one thing as you look at the numbers, it just hasn't been either the starters or in the bullpen.
Yeah, the bullpen's been tough because who do you trust right now? Right, we trust Mason Miller, I still believe. Ferguson, when he pitched those 5 days in a row, I don't know. Since then, he hasn't been the same and not very trustworthy. Yep. Justin Sterner, I think, has earned our trust. Yep. But outside of that, I don't know who you're looking at as when you have the lead and I need to get through the 7th and 8th inning, who's my guy?
Yeah. Well, I just think traditionally in Major League Baseball, when a manager finds 2-3 guys that he can rely on, he's going to ride those guys. Mm-hmm. And what happens is you start burning pretty quick, right?
Yep.
When you think I'm in win mode right now, I got Mason Miller. Otani's hopefully will work himself back into that. Right, but Sterner, Ferguson, Miller, and at some point, you start doing that enough, all of a sudden you burn it pretty quick.
Yep. The A's just went through this stretch where they played 3 first-place teams and then the Giants, right? So it's 4 of the best teams in baseball. And they won 3 games. They won 3-9. But when you look closer, they really could have won 7 or 8 games in that
Yes.
stretch. That's how close they are.
And that's the luck part you talked about. I think it's true. That's true.
Sometimes you need that. You need a break here. You need someone to come through. And not to pile on JJ Bleday, but I'm going to pile on right now because it still bugs me. The Saturday night game against the Giants. The Friday night game, the 1-0 game. JJ Bleday comes up with a runner on third, less than 2 outs, can't bring the run home. This is the Saturday game. This is the 0-0 game. Comes up again, runner on third, less than 2 outs, can't bring the run home. Then comes up in the 10th inning with the ghost runner on second and can't move him over. Okay, you lose that game 1-0. He had 3 chances to set up the A's to score and failed to do so. You can't have that right now.
Yeah.
That you have to come through. Bill Rigney, the great Bill Rigney, used to always say, know how to make it out. So if you're going to make it out, make it productive.
Absolutely.
And that's all JJ Bleday had to do in all 3 of those situations, and he failed to do so.
There's nothing productive comes from a strikeout. We know that, other than if you have hindsight, you say, well, at least you didn't hit into a double play. But listen, I mean, I believe in the productive out. I look at the defensive situations. There's a guy in third, nobody out, and the second baseman is still in a shift. He's 1 step from being over the line there, and you have a chasm between the first and second baseman. They're inviting you. You could push it over there. What's the difference if you line it to left or you just squib one to right field? The run's going to score. You're probably going to have you can get a double by hitting a very soft ground ball to the right side in that situation. And they're not even playing for them to move over,
No.
I don't get it. I don't understand that.
And that's where you got to play for your teammate, right? You got to play for your team. I remember Tony La Russa when he was managing the A's. You have experience with this, but when there was a leadoff guy on second, he would always tell the next hit, it didn't matter if it was Mark McGuire, Harold Baines, Jose Canseco. So when you come back to the dugout, that man must be on third.
Must be. I agree.
And you go back and you look at the now different time. We did a little more small ball back then, but that's still how to win baseball games, is to move those guys over and put them in position to score.
The little things, the game inside the game, the little things that are not popping up on all this garbage that we get every single day. It's a sport. I always go back to golf because I think golf is a great way because we know golf is so about data. Like you can sit on the range and you can pound it 340 with your driver. You can have your TrackMan, But when you go out to play those 18 holes, your short game, your pitching, your chipping out of the sand, the small putts, the little things is what makes you great. Yep. We don't talk about that enough in baseball, like getting that runner over or getting the runner in JJ Bleday.
Absolutely.
The little thing. All we talk about is exit velocities and chase rates and velocity and spin and all this stuff. And that's not exactly what wins the game. Some of the biggest plays in a football game will be 3rd and 1. Yeah, no razzle dazzle. You got to get 3rd and 1.
That's why the expected numbers we say, well, he has an expected batting
average. I hate that.
It doesn't, and I get it as a scouting tool or a projection tool. Fine. But for winning baseball games, no.
You know what I see, guys? I see in that situation, it just sticks in my craw because I see it too many times. Like the second baseman's right back of second base when that runner's going to be moved over. It's a perfect opportunity to do that. Is it like you're too out of touch by doing that? Is it stupid today to think that you're going to try to move a runner over? That's all I was taught is you got to get the runner over. I don't care how you do it. You get that guy to third, right? You got 1 out now and a guy on third. And so what is it? Why don't they do it more?
Non-productive outs.
But why don't they do it more?
You know why? Because they are taught that everything is about slug.
Oh, my gosh.
A non-productive out does nothing for your slug.
Yeah, I think you're right. I really do. I think that the way people are taught now on this individual basis that you're doing it for yourself and for your numbers, and this is how you're going to be judged and how you're going to be paid, that they're not willing to give up an at-bat to help the team win. It's sad to me.
And I don't want to be one of those guys, well, when I played this, because we made plenty of bad plays, believe me. But I do remember the times, guy on second, everybody knows you must get him over. And when you did, everybody came up to the dugout, was high-fiving you, patting you on the butt and all that stuff for making the right play.
And how good did that have to feel, right?
Phenomenal. It was great.
All right, on the way out here, give me some positives. Fire me up.
Positives. JP Sears, I think, has taken a big step forward. Very consistent pitcher. Not great against the Giants this last outing, but home road, it hasn't mattered. He's given the A's a chance almost every time he's taken the ball. We know that he hasn't missed a start, but now we don't want him to miss a start.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's because he has been competitive almost every time out there. So I think that's great. You're going to have Jeffrey Springs on. He has changed his season now, right? We talked about his first inning struggles and the number of pitches he threw in the first inning and the runs, but he's fought through that Giant game. I mean, he was special on Sunday. Severino, if he can bring his road to home, it's in his head now, right? He's talking about it a lot, and I can't go to the clubhouse between innings. I think he really desperately needs an outing tomorrow where he just dominates, and I think that changes everything for him if he's able to do that.
Do you think that kind of extension of a coach, the elder statesman on the pitching staff, do you think that weighs on him a little bit at home? And can make a difference in why he's had tough luck here?
I would hate to think that's the case, to be honest with you. I hope not. I think he's just really hasn't found that routine. Yeah. He's talked about it, so I'm guessing he's very routine driven.
Yes,
and
most pitchers are.
They are, right? And if I'm so used to at the end of the inning being able to go back to the clubhouse and sit or do this, and there's no place to go here. Yeah. There just isn't. It's one of those places we have to find a routine for him that works. Yeah. And I really believe it's only going to take that one game for that to happen.
And I hate to kill Sevy's narrative, but I did a little research last night. So all this not comfortable at the ballpark, more comfortable on the road. Do you know what his road ERA was last year with New York?
I know.
5.
Well, yeah, but he was comfortable at home, right?
Well, now he's comfortable on the road.
No, he's comfortable on the road.
But he wasn't comfortable on the road last year. He had a 5 ERA.
Yeah. But now he is.
See what I'm saying?
It is. And that's why I think part of it could be in his head. He's just thinking it's in that. It's legitimate. Look, you played this game a long time. You played this game in college at a high level. You have a lot of time to think during this game.
Oh, yeah.
And because of that, if something gets in your head and you can't stop it, it's going to take over. And I really believe that's sort of what's happened to him right now. It's self-fulfilling prophecy that's going on when he takes the mound here.
Sometimes in this game, the worst thing you can do is think. You need to get out of your own way sometimes, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. But it's easier said than done.
I mean he's got to do it on the mound, and that's where it has to change, and it has to start tomorrow.
When you're the official score, does anyone say have a good score tonight?
No one's ever said that. No.
Have a good score tonight.
Oh, that's Chris.
Hopefully, there's pressure.
You know what? Funny because I've had 3 no-hitters. One of them was Matt Cain's.
Yeah, you had the perfect game.
Oh, really?
And everybody said, "Oh, he must have been nervous." I'm like, perfect game. That's the easiest game in the world to score.
Wow.
Nobody reaches base. I got nothing to do. It's awesome. I love this.
Yeah.
I got my scorebook notarized, authenticated, Hall of Fame, the whole thing. I didn't have to do anything.
Grocery list.
This is easy.
It's easy.
Quickly, toughest call you ever had to make?
Toughest call? Oh, geez. Mark Ellis was going for the cycle, and he had a shot to Kevin Youkilis at third base. Again, a 2-part play. Made a great diving stop. Went for the force out at second. Mark Kotze was actually the runner at first. He was the bad throw off second. Had to call it a fielder's choice. E5. Did it cost Mark Ellis the cycle? No, because the game went extra innings. Ellis got his single. Xavi hit a walk-off homer. Everybody's happy.
Oh, good. That's great.
Have a good game tonight.
Have a good game.
Thanks, fellas. Thanks for having me.
The owner of Circa is joining us next. It's going to be awesome right here on A's Cast Live.
Get your group together and check out all our great hospitality spaces for bonding opportunities, events, or a fun outing of your friends and family. There are 20, 50, and 100-person indoor suites available for select games, as well as an 80-person open-air area with a shaded cover. Secure your group today at athletics.com/hospitality. Versatile infielder and outfielder Max Schumann appeared on A's Cast Live with Townie to talk about embracing his role as a super utility player for Mark Kotze.
Just going out there and being athletic in whatever position they decide to play me in that day, or whether it's off the bench, just go and be an athlete. I think that it translates so well whether you're in the batter's box or playing whatever position on the field. I mean, it doesn't matter. I think the more athletic you can be and getting into an athletic position, the more consistent you'll be overall.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast. For just $25, fans can sit in the general admission outfield grass for all regular season home games. Tickets for that day's game will open up daily at 9 a.m. for purchase at athletics.com/lawn. Sign up to receive A's alerts to receive a text the first morning of each home series as a reminder. For more information, visit athletics.com/lawn. A's top prospect Nick Kurtz shared the thrilling details of receiving the call about his MLB debut from Fran Riordan on A's Cast Live with Townie in West Sacramento.
I don't know if shock's the right word. I mean, I knew it could happen. I've been playing well in AAA, but I didn't know the timing of it all was a little bit. I was like, I just couldn't believe it. I was like, yeah, oh my God, it actually happened. Like it's here.
Kind of woke you up, and you're like, is this a dream?
Yeah.
I mean, talk about the story.
Yeah, no, like I was up that morning, but then I kind of was like dozing off back to sleep and stuff, and I hear my phone buzzing. It's Fran. I'm like, okay, that's weird on an off day for him to be calling me. And then answer, he tells me I'm going up. I'm just like, I was speechless. I was like, really? I was like, no way. Like, let's go. I'm excited.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
You're listening to A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Well, we have a special guest in the ballpark tonight, Derek Stevens, the owner of Circa in Las Vegas, the hottest place in Las Vegas. And I cannot wait, Steve Sax, for when we're down there doing shows from Stadium Swim. How are you?
Wow, I'm doing great. Great to be here. What a great venue this is. So we're pretty excited. I got the whole Circa Las Vegas, Circa sports crew out here with me.
Yeah.
We flew out, and we're having a great day.
Beautiful. What is the anticipation and the buzz like now, not only in your hotel, but also just in the city in general? What is that like right now?
Well, I think it started back in March when the A's came out and played during Big League Weekend, and then had a great event, met a lot of potential season ticket holders and things like that, and everybody was very excited about it. So I think ever since then, and then having this great start, and now all of a sudden, in Las Vegas, the game highlights are on the local sports channels at night. Yeah. So nice. The community is starting to learn who the players are and things like that, and it's been a lot of fun. This has been a fun team to watch. So Vegas is definitely catching the A's bug. I can tell you that.
Well, when we talked at the Red Rock at the party that we had during Big League Weekend, you said, just wait, we got to get you down to Stadium Swim and how big that's going to be. And we're going to bring the show down there for the playoffs.
Can't wait.
I can't wait to see it. I mean, just talk about what that vibe is like where you have thousands and thousands and thousands of people coming in, and you just see the pictures and all the games and people, the pools and the gambling and the cocktails. It's a sight like no other.
Yeah, you described it very well. That's what we wanted to do. 143-foot screen and 6 pools and multi-level, just like an arena. And it's a great place to watch games, enjoy the sunshine. And, in Vegas, you bet a little bit on some of these games. Yeah. So people love it.
Well, we were seeing the pictures from March Madness. Dallaire, our boss, was there for March. I couldn't believe just wow.
Crazy. Yeah, I'll tell you what. I had an opportunity to spend a day with Dallaire. That was a great day. And after that, I'm not going to comment too much. We had a great day.
Just leave it there, right? So I gotta ask you, Derek. I mean, this has got to be a special thing with only 33,000 seats at the stadium. Are you guys going in there and trying to gobble up as many seats as you can and using them for your people who want to come and stay at the resort and then go to a game and all that? How does that work?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's still a little bit early. I think, the ownership and management here is going to make some decisions here a little bit further down the road. But I can certainly tell you that I would expect the A's are going to be sold out, not the first year, but they're going to be sold out for the first decade.
Probably so.
I'm going to tell you that, I mean, I've gotten to see this firsthand, being in the hospitality business and seeing the attraction that Vegas brings. With this many seats, I think Vegas is – I think the A's are going to sell out every game for a decade.
Yeah, we had Steve Hill recently back on the program once again, and talk about what sports means to Vegas. Once the A's get there, you're basically going to have a professional event at least every other day of the calendar year, which is just incredible.
Yeah, Steve told me he was out here like a couple weeks ago and mentioned something like that to me, and he's exactly right. We've seen Vegas really become an incredible sports town, sports town for sports tourism. And, when people come to Las Vegas, they may go to a game, but then they're going to spend a couple other days doing other things around Las Vegas. So I think this is going to be such an incredible next step for Las Vegas. And I think the team and the owners and the coaches and the fans, they're going to come to love Las Vegas as the hometown.
No question. And, what's so exciting about that is team's in a little bit of a funk right now, but this team has got all these young players that were first, second round picks over the last several years, some very recently that have blazed through the minor leagues and are now here. The great thing about this is we don't even know where the ceiling is for this team. This is an exciting, athletic, very fun team to watch as they're going to grow and get better and better every year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, seeing Jacob Wilson break out this year has been unbelievable. Watching, bringing up Nick Kurtz right now, last year's first-round draft pick, that's as young as it gets.
Yep.
And then you get to see some of these extensions you got with Brent Rooker and Lawrence Butler. It's awesome. And then Mason Miller, I mean, my goodness, this guy is just lightning right here.
Yes.
So I think, what I thought coming up here, I told Skip and I told Mason, we're gonna bring you a little Vegas luck today. We're changing it today, right now. It changes today. We win tonight, then we go from there.
Yeah, we need.
There we go.
We need something.
We need a little
This is
facilitator.
it. We changed it today.
Mojo. We need some mojo. And you had a couple of the guys. You Mason Miller. Talk about hanging out with some of the A's players of Vegas.
Yeah, we had a bunch of guys over at our steakhouse back before the season. Nothing during the season, but before the season. And I think more than anything. I mean, baseball's a long season. Everybody, you go through this. Come on.
Sure.
Okay, let's.
Every team goes through it. Every single team.
And I could tell you, one thing I could tell you coming from Vegas, just like baseball team, baseball season is streaky. Well, I could tell you Vegas is streaky too. So let's change this 8-gamer right now, tonight.
Right.
You're from Detroit. Remember, we were talking about it at the party at the Red Rock. How about your Tigers? I mean, they're the best team in baseball.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing what Scott Harris did in putting this team together, and a young team. The unique thing about them is they've got a lot of young, really strong pitching. Casey Mize got hurt, came back from Tommy John, and he's having a season. Jackson Jobe was a first-round draft pick. Reese Olson's been having a great game, just went on the shelf, but great starting pitching. And then AJ Hinch has really put this team together. They're aggressive. They're just very aggressive the way they run, play defense, and a lot of young guys. So that's an exciting team. I think it's very similar to what I'm seeing here with the A's, maybe with the A's lagged by maybe a season or two, so to speak.
Yeah. And the whole thing about Vegas when I think about it is, years and years and years ago, this was a place to go gamble and all that. That's all changed now. There's great families there. Families have moved there. There's industry there. The sports teams have certainly landed there. This is a very eclectic place now where you can go there and just have a good time and great family. I used to have a place down there in Vegas. It was great family atmosphere. I really loved it.
Yeah, I mean, I think Vegas has really developed as a city, a town, a community over the last 10 years and last 20 years. There's a lot to do. I also think the country has changed quite a bit. I mean, back in the days when Vegas was really all about gambling, well, I can understand why major league teams didn't want to go there. But effectively, every major league team is probably within an hour of a casino somewhere around the country.
Right.
And and I think just Vegas has become something much more. It's a great place to have a family. There's a lot going on. There's always a lot of entertainment, and it's been a lot of fun. But it's a lot about business too. So it's just a great community. And I think anybody that hasn't been there, that's an A's fan, you're really going to enjoy coming to Vegas and checking it out.
Oh, I can't wait. I mean, at some point we'll start playing games there, I believe, even before the new stadium opens up. The AAA stadium is second to none. My God, it's a $120 million facility. It's unbelievable. You know what they don't talk enough about, though? It's the best restaurants in the country. You have the best chefs. You have the best restaurants in the country. I don't think we talk about that enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great place. You could go you could have probably 10 trips and never eat at the same restaurants. You'll have a great time. It's a great culinary place. no matter what hotel you're at, you've got a lot of opportunities to have some great meals, and that's a good part of your trip.
Derek, I got to ask you too about the stadium in itself. Townie, you could probably give some insight.
We saw the renderings. That we had a meeting today. We saw the renderings.
Wow.
It's going to be incredible.
Now, I with the heat there, this is technically an outdoor stadium. It's more of an indoor stadium to me. Is this going to be cooled down not only by the covering, but
it'll all be covered. You'll be inside.
But so, you're talking about 108-degree day will probably be about 85 in there. It's because you're going to be able to cool that thing off a bit.
Yeah, it won't be a problem. I mean, I run an indoor. Now, remember, I used to own the AAA team. I owned the Las Vegas 51 for 6 years.
Yeah.
That was outdoor like this. And when it was 110 outside, it was 120 at the stadium is what it felt like. But now I work in an indoor business. And even when it's 110 outside, I guarantee it's about 72 inside the casino, and that's what it's going to be like inside the stadium. It's going to be beautiful.
That's great.
It's going to be a great venue. I mean, I think the architects have done a heck of a job. There's been a lot of work that's gone into this. The angles on the stadium,
it's absolutely stunning.
Yeah,
looking at that thing,
it's the next development of Major League Stadium development. So I don't really think we're just talking about having the best stadium, in Vegas or things like that. We're really talking about trying to create the best new stadium in Major League Baseball and set the bar at the next level.
Right. When you say Allegiant Stadium did just that.
Allegiant did that, and NFL definitely did that. I mean, think about, let's say a few decades past, there's a moment in time when you can say, okay, Baltimore did a heck of a job. Camden Yards kind of set a new, that was like that step. And then you had a few others, and then in Coors Field, Comerica Park came out. But I think the stadium in Las Vegas is really trying to set themselves apart. And I know as someone in the hospitality industry that talks a lot about it, Vegas can't have just a good stadium. Vegas expects the best, has to set the bar. I mean, everything Vegas does is always bigger, better, largest, that type of thing. So I think it's going to be terrific for the A's.
It's incredible. And, you talk about how these stadiums have really kind of set the bar with each other. You had the one at Camden Yards, probably around, late 80s, early 90s. Before that, it was Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. And then before, but I'll tell you, this whole thing, the anticipation of this move over to Vegas is off the chart. I mean, it was great here coming to Sacramento, but now when you talk about going into this stadium with the social experience areas that they're going to have instead of just a plain stadium, there's all kinds of an experience you're going to get at the ballpark besides just a game.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's just so much to do. It's going to be a great reason to go out and support the A's. And I mean, effectively, let's be honest about the A's. A's are not just a local team. A's are really, to some point, a regional team and almost a national team. I mean, you have A's fans that obviously cover a very broad range of geography within the United States. So I expect a lot of A's fans are going to be showing up in Vegas. Obviously, fans of the road teams. We've seen this in Vegas. That's what happens. Road team fans will show, but the A's have fans that really are for more than just the local area. I mean, this is going to be a lot of A's fans coming into town, I think, for every homestand.
Yeah, I think you're dead on. I mean, you talk about when you look at the book Moneyball, best-selling book, turned into a movie that was up for an Academy Award. So it's amazing how the A's fan base has just grown. Let's end on this. We're giving a trip every homestand away to Circa. Just talk about your facility, second to none. You want the ultimate entertainment. Circa is the place to go.
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun with this. I'll tell you what, the A's management team and the Sacramento River Cats have done a great job. So we came up with this crazy idea. Let's give away this unbelievable trip to Las Vegas for every homestand for both the A's and the River Cats. And it's been a lot of fun. So we're treating one lucky winner to really a road trip of a lifetime type of thing, where you get to get the suite, you get the airport pickup, you get to have.
Come on, it doesn't get any better than that.
You get the
airport pickup.
You get the limos picking you up. You got stadium swim with the. I forget the number. What you guys have it in the thing? What are we giving away? Like $1,000 or $2,000 at Stadium Swim?
Yeah,
for every winner and something great. Yeah.
How good will this show look at Stadium Swim?
I think it's great. Now, you just said you're coming in during the playoffs. I thought we're doing something like in July. I think we're bringing it out earlier than that.
In June we're gonna have the big launch of the stadium in June, so we'll be there in June.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
they're giving us the nod. We are coming out earlier. Yeah, that's
June.
right. Look at that. Yeah, we're gonna do that. That's for sure. All right.
We're getting the guarantee we're at Circa in June.
There we go. We're coming out earlier. We're gonna do the show.
You're hearing it. You're seeing it. It's a guarantee.
Hey, and I think I'm looking at this. I think this floats. We're
This
gonna
is
put
nice.
this right in the water. I love it.
Float. You can swim up to it, right? Just like they do at the bar
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Well, thanks
That's
so
nice.
much for your time.
Yeah.
We truly appreciate it. Enjoy the game. Thank you for supporting A's baseball. Thank you for supporting us. We can't wait to just continue the relationship. It's going to be really special.
Oh, thanks a
Thank
lot,
you,
fellas.
Derek. Thank you.
I appreciate having it. Thank you
Take
very
care, buddy.
much.
Take
All right,
care.
thanks.
Circa Sports. I can't
Wow.
wait. You and me
was
at
that
the
gonna be
pool.
oh, you kidding me?
You and me at the pool.
Yeah. Townie will be going to the veterinarian there because he's going to say, these puppies are sick.
Yeah, it's great. We give a trip away to Circa after
Yeah.
every single
That is,
homestand.
who wouldn't love that? I mean, and it's going to be first cabin all the way.
Oh, yeah. It's
All the way. First cabin.
our boss, Delaire, was there for day one of the NCAA tournament. It was like, you're not going to – you guys won't believe how good this is going to be.
Jeez, I'll tell you what. It's amazing.
He's on
It
at the
is
first
incredible.
pitch tonight, too.
Is he really? Derek's the one on the first pitch?
Hey, Derek, we forgot. Throw a strike, baby.
Derek,
We're rooting for
are you going back to the mound or in front?
Come here.
Come here, Derek.
Get.
Here, come here. Yeah.
I sold a lot of these when I had the AAA team, and I'll tell you, we made fun of anybody that didn't get up and toe the rubber. So I'm going to go toe the rubber. Now, I will tell you, I'm a big underdog to throw a strike, but I will get on top of that mound.
That's right. All right. I love it. Love it. Hey, whenever I throw out the first pitch, I'm about 42 feet away. I get way up there in front. It's kind of a little.
We haven't had you throw out a first pitch. We need to get him to throw out a first pitch.
Oh my gosh! Really?
My first pitches, I wing them.
You wing them?
I've done it twice.
You zipped
it. I almost took.
How much
Adam
did you throw beforehand?
I went in the parking lot both times.
Yeah,
to warm up.
that's what I've done too.
I almost took Adam Rosales out on one.
I put catch with my brother before I get here. Yeah.
So we're waiting on Jeffrey Springs. He'll be the next cast of thousands that'll be joining us today. But
wow, this trip, time to go. Have you guys been into the casino there? I mean, into the.
No, we haven't been there.
Yeah, I haven't been there. The last time I was in Vegas, we were at the Red Rock.
Okay, yeah, I bet you this thing is going to be unbelievable.
But
this resort.
You were talking about the stadium and the roof and how it's going to be cold. I've been to the new Rangers ballpark, and they're like, hey, it's 105 degrees outside, but it's a cool 72 in here. They air condition and everything.
That's what I was wondering, because it's not fully. It's not fully.
No, it's fully enclosed.
It is.
It's
Okay.
fully enclosed.
Okay, so then it will be air conditioned.
Yeah,
Amazing.
for sure.
And then I saw how they have almost a concave type of a scoreboard in the roof, and that kind of flexible roof. It's incredible, the rendering. I mean, it's amazing what they've done.
Yeah, we saw the new renderings today. It's pretty. It's absolutely stunning.
So the sun is going to beat off the back of it.
Yes.
It's like that. It's like the orchestra in Sydney.
Yeah.
And the way it's designed, it's going to deflect it right off. It's going to be incredible.
It's crazy
and
good.
You're going to see more of the New York skyline at this ballpark than either Queens or in the Bronx.
New York.
Than the actual New York teams.
With the what do you call
New
it?
York, and MGM will be in that.
Yes, and the roller coaster. You'll be able to see it. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of where we even transition to next, because we're having so much fun talking about the future
Talk about
in Las
Jeffrey
Vegas.
Springs.
Well, I mean, hopefully he comes. I mean, you guys were talking to David Feldman about Luis Severino. Do you want to use any of the Luis Severino sound we have from David Forrest? Or
yeah, let's do it.
Okay, let's hear David Forrest talk about Luis Severino and the splits and everything, and getting accustomed to pitching here at the ballpark in West Sacramento.
Severino on the road, he has the second best road ERA to Max Fried. Has struggled here. You guys have talked about it. We just talked to Scott Emerson. I guess your guys are going to try and change some things for him. What has the conversation been like?
Yeah, I mean, trying to find a way to make him more comfortable. Obviously, Sevy's been pretty outspoken about how, being here changes his routine, how well he's pitched on the road, obviously. And, there are little things. Obviously, the most extreme thing we've talked about is letting him just go straight up to the clubhouse after each half inning. I'm not sure he's ready to do that yet. But just some things, whether it's, the bike in the dugout here to keep him warm, or I don't know, whatever we can do to make him more comfortable. And I get it. I don't blame him for being outspoken. It's a different situation. He's been in the big leagues a long time and has his routine. He's very particular about everything, like from noon up until his start. He has the one guy he wants in the training room working on him, the time he gets in the hot tub, all these things that are important to starting pitchers who are creatures of habit.
So that's David Force, the Athletics general manager. Now here's Scott Emerson, his pitching coach, talking about Luis Severino.
Severino's going to be going on Thursday on the road. He has the second best road ERA in baseball. Been a little bit different here at this ballpark. I know you guys were going to talk to him how to make him more comfortable here. What have those conversations been like?
Yeah, I mean, it's all, we threw a bullpen on the field today just to kind of see the visuals of Sutter Health Park and get him more comfortable on the field. I think, when you're coming to somewhere totally new, and it's not just a free agent, but it's the guys who've played in Oakland all the time. And now all of a sudden you got to make a new place your home. I always say, where am I sitting in the dugout? Do I feel comfortable over here? Do I feel comfortable over there? How do I watch the game? Do I like it from here? I like it from there. Now you got to talk about the players. The clubhouse is in left field, but it's in left field for both teams. So we got to find a way to make him comfortable to where we got all the things that he needs in the dugout, in the bathroom, to relax. So I just think that, right now we just got to play the mind game and be strong that, hey, both sides have to play this way and go out. I'm going to go out and compete and do my thing.
So there was Scott Emerson, David Force talking about Luis Severino. Severino's 0-4 with a 6.75 ERA, 14 walks, 29 strikeouts, and 4 home runs allowed in 34 2/3 innings at Sutter Health. Obviously, we talked about it a lot. He has a 0.72 ERA on the road, the second lowest in baseball behind only Max Fried of the Yankees. Yeah. So the home road splits are completely different for Luis Severino.
Yeah.
Well, that's what, I was looking at it last night. You can have this narrative about this ballpark, but last year, Luis Severino had an ERA of 5 on the road. This year, he has the second best ERA on the road in baseball.
Yeah.
Something just doesn't.
Yeah.
So last year, this whole thing about a home, the home ballpark, the road, I mean, yes, he was better at Citi Field. Citi Field's a major pitching ballpark, too.
Yes.
But he struggled on the road last year. But he's doing well this year on the road.
Right.
He's great on the road.
I mean, the thing about it, it's not where there's some nuance to it. It's just flat out glaring the difference. You don't have to try to figure it out. I mean, when he doesn't do it here, but, man, he works it on the road. I don't know what the difference is. I mean, I don't think it's the configuration of the ballpark, and I don't think Louis is intimidated by saying, the ball's going to fly here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's that. I just don't. The point is, I don't know what it is, but it's glaring.
Well,
I can't figure it out.
The one nice thing is the guy that's pitched the best out of all the pitchers for the A's so far this year is JP Sears. Yep. He's pitched well at the ballpark today. He's pitching tonight. Hopefully, he can be the stopper for the 7-game losing streak because he's the guy, longest tenured guy in the starting rotation. I think he's a 3.86 ERA here at the ballpark in West Sacramento. He's only allowed 3 home runs, and the Angels have hit a lot of home runs over the last X amount of games. Yeah, they've 10 games in a row. They've had that many home runs, so they've been.
Angels have scored 34 runs. We had in the postgame for you, 34 runs, 50 hits, 11 home runs in 5 games. Yeah. Now Sears wasn't good in San Francisco, but before that, 3-0 with a 1.93 ERA and 5 starts. The A's had won all 5 of those starts. You take Sears out of the equation.
Oh boy, yeah.
You're taking JP Sears. The numbers. I mean, the A's have won the games he's pitched. You take the games he's pitched out of this record. Wow.
I mean, somebody's got to pick up that slack. And look, Springs, he was going through some tough times. He's fixed it. All right. It looks to me like in 3 out of his last 4 games, he's fixed it. Right. Yeah. So there's a positive right there. Jeffrey Springs fixed it. So you got 2 guys right there that pitch very, very similar, by the way, similar style approach to the hitters. And they both are, the top guys right now on the team as far as pitching.
2 lefties that don't rely on velocity. It's refreshing to see in the sport of baseball right now.
Right.
Jeffrey Springs is still working out on the field, so I don't know when he's going to be available. He's running, we call them sprints, I guess he'd be running. It was gassers. I don't know what the correct lingo they use now is, but he's down there.
It'd be sprints.
Yeah. So I don't know but we got Martín Gallegos come up in a few minutes, and he's plugged in more than any of us when it comes to what's going on with the team. But the Angels also 51% of their runs scored this year have come over via the home run.
Yeah.
And so that's something we always talk about with the A's for years prior. The A's are only I think the A's are at 43% this year. So the number's actually gone down over last year. but that's just because the team's not scoring any runs right now. I know they had 2 home runs last night, but getting back on track and ending this losing streak that you're going down the same path that you kind of were going down last year. If you hit 500, you lost 14 of your last 17 after that 500 mark last year, and you're at 3-14 and 3-11 in your last 14 now.
I think Townie and I were talking about earlier. Sometimes you need a team just to really go out and just blow the other team off the field. You know, a big 9-0 game, stellar pitching performance, couple home runs, some timely hits, and then you start to feel it again. You know, and all good things in baseball, whether you're hitting, I'm sure it's that way for pitching. Those success points are all based on a feeling. It's a feeling. You don't have to think about it. You can feel it. And I think that's what they need to start doing as a team. They need to start feeling it again.
Do you like hearing that? Oh, no, everything's fine.
No, because it's not. It's not. And you know what? They know it. They know it. It's not a detrimental. I'm not saying that in a pejorative manner. I mean, they know it. It's not okay. And I'm sure, the manager here is a very, very bright guy who's a phenomenal player, and he knows too. And I think the players really respect him, and he's not trying to BS anybody. He tells it like it is. I like him for that.
I don't want to use the same thing I said yesterday, but maybe get to how do you say his name? Kohanowitz?
Yeah.
Kohanowitz.
Get to him early.
Yeah.
I mean, he did give up 7 runs, and his most runs he ever got him to start was 7 last year against the A's in 4 innings. So maybe ambush him early, like I said they could do to Kyle Hendricks, and that kind of worked for a little bit.
I think ambushing, another name for ambush is be ready to hit. I mean, and that's what I love about Jacob Wilson. He's hitting until he's not. He's going to hit. He's not up there taking anything. He's hitting every single pitch. I don't know if I've really seen that before in the major leagues. I've seen like him.
Well, hopefully he's back in the next few days. I know he might be potentially available to pinch hit tonight with the forearm contusion. Max Schumann's playing short tonight. Seth Brown's playing center field. Shea Langeliers is batting second in the lineup today. I like it. Yeah. I mean, he's been hitting really well over the last 14 games.
So if pitchers don't go deep in games, you can't get to them late.
That's a good point. So you got to get to him early. Although Hendricks did go 5 2/3, so that's that's deep in today's game.
I mean, you're not going to get that. You're not going to get 7th or 8th inning another shot at him.
No.
So if you don't get him early, you have no shot to get him late.
Yeah. So get him in the first inning.
When do you get Cody not shaving?
I shaved the neck today. I kept the beard, the top part. I'm trying to switch it up for the team.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
I was here to help the ball club.
Okay.
Steve, I'm here to help the ball club.
What did you do, Sax?
You made a deal with your wife,
Good-looking ball
right? You told her you're not going to shave until we.
Yeah, I won't shave everything and go back to just a mustache until we win a game. That's how I've been.
What you got? What am I doing?
What did you do?
I shaved. Morgan. Is that what you're talking about?
What did you do to help this team win today?
What did I do? I sometimes it's good to just I don't know. Sometimes it's good to, I guess, say a prayer, man, because we're down to that, man. We're down to that. You know what I mean?
Well, I told you, if we get to 10, the loser gets to 10, you're going down and talking to the clubhouse.
No, boy, they don't want to hear from me.
Martín Gallegos of MLB.com will join us next right here on A's Cast Live.
Star researcher and best-selling New York Times author Paul Hembekides joined A's Cast Live of Townie and provided compelling reasons why he believes Jacob Wilson will be the American League Rookie of the Year.
No disrespect to Bobby Crosby, but Jacob Wilson is going to be Jacob Wilson is going to be the best rookie shortstop that the A's have had in a generation. The reason I'm so confident in the skill set is because it's highly transferable. I have seen him absolutely mash at every level. And the fact that he can, at least for the sample size that we do have in college, plus a short stint in the minor leagues, to be totally honest with you, is highly transferable because it's consistent barrel contact. It's consistent bat to ball. It's like a 60 hit tool on the 20 to 80 scale. And the scouts are telling me that he can fake it to average in the power department potentially right away. And by the way, I see a lot of juice in that barrel, like at least 50 juice in that barrel. And maybe it will play right away. We know he's got the baseball bloodlines. Again, I think he can play shortstop representatively. I just named a whole bunch of things that are very value positive for an A's team that's going to give them the opportunity to play every single day, which is another part of this award, of course. But this is as much a performance award as it is an opportunity award. And so you're going to put this guy at shortstop on opening day right away. The game is not going to be too fast for him. I think the fact that he is in baseball lineage does certainly help. But a unicorn skill, like that kind of hand-eye, that premium hand-eye coordination, and that strong contact balance that he creates good line drive swings with. I'm a big fan of this kid's swing, and I think by the end of the season, we are talking about a player who might well win the Rookie of the Year.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
A's legend and Mets hitting coach Eric Chavez joined Chris Townsend on A's Cast Live to discuss his Athletics Hall of Fame induction.
Yeah, it's weird. Actually, it's the first time I've heard it said in a while. So, yeah, it's great honor. Obviously, the history with this organization, all the great people that are in the Hall of Fame, players and staff members. Definitely a big honor for me. You know, I didn't make all-star teams or anything like that. So, to kind of have that.
You won a few Gold Gloves. You're pretty out.
A couple awards, but yeah, it's I love this organization. Obviously, started my career here, drafted, and met a lot of good people along the way.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
Streaming from West Sacramento, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
Martín Gallegos from MLB.com joins us here on A's Cast Live. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, Tony. How you doing?
We're doing all right. I mean, we're having a good time, but losing 7 straight, losing your mojo,
it's tough.
I'm not happy about it.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it was so good early on, right, that you feel like, you know, maybe they can ride this thing the whole year. But I mean, young team like this, you expect to go through your ups and downs, and right now they're going through a down. So I mean, they're fighting through it. They're playing hard, trying to get out of this slump. But yeah, no question, it's been tough the last couple weeks for sure.
What do you think more specifically, Martín? I mean, the numbers don't lie about the pitching. You know, hitting's been down at times too. Lack of home run power that this team is built on mash. I mean, there's different things that you can throw a dart at, but what are you looking at?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been kind of a mix. The offense, like you look at last night, they had 12 hits, and usually early on in the season when they had performances like that, they were winning games. Yep. But you look at the runners and scoring position numbers, and they've been tough. Over the last week, you know, running scoring position has been a major issue for this team. You look at the numbers, the runners on base, they've just left a lot of opportunities out there on the field. And, you know, when you don't cash in on those opportunities, it makes it a lot tougher late in games to bring in your bullpen, and they have to be perfect pretty much every time out. And we've seen a little bit of slippage here, whether it's a guy like Justin Sterner, who obviously had that great streak going on. He gives up a run last night, and obviously those little runs that they give up obviously become more magnified because the margin of error is so low. So right now it feels like they're having to play perfect. So it's been a mix of everything. I'd say the bullpen hasn't been as sharp as it was early on. The offense isn't cashing on opportunities. The starting pitching, you know, there's been some good forms and some bad ones. They're still trying to even that out a little bit, but I think, you know, they're not, when they were going at their best, everything was kind of lining up. And right now it just seems like when one thing's going, the other thing is not going.
Yeah.
What's it like in the clubhouse right now?
I think they're optimistic. I think, you know, Kotze's done a great job of keeping their spirits up, even in this tough situation. You know, they talked about, you know, coming back from San Francisco before the series started, about the young hitters just kind of taking it easy a little bit, stop trying to maybe press too much, which is easier said than done. Obviously, these guys are all, you know, still going through first, second year in the big leagues, most of them. So they're going to go through these ups and downs. And I think we saw, especially in that San Francisco series, where it just seemed like they got guys on base, a couple of bases loaded situation. They couldn't cash those in. And when that starts to build up, I think they start to feel a little bit of that pressure. And I think last night we saw a little bit of an encouraging sign from the offense, where there was a guy like Nick Kurtz getting a couple of knocks, the home run, first home run here at Sutter Health Park. So I think, you know, overall the clubhouse atmosphere, I think they're still in a spot where they're optimistic that they could climb out of this. It's still early enough in the season. We're a quarter of the way into the season, so a lot of baseball to be played.
And every team's going to go through these times. Every single one of them will go through some down times like this. But you know what? I like to see a little bit of a bulldog. You know what bulldogs do?
Oh yeah,
they get ticked off, man, and they want to fight. I'd love to see some of that in this team. I know they got it in them, but accepting, you know, how it goes and try to reason your way out of it. Hell with the reason. Go out there and get. I don't want to use the word, but get a little fight, ticked off at somebody, and let's get it on. That's what I love to see that.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the right guy's on the mound tonight. JP Sears, talking about bulldog. That's a guy who
love it.
Who you want to kind of go out there when you're in a bad stretch and try to get you going with a really good start.
What have you seen the most in him for him improving from the last 2 years to where he is today?
He's just so consistent, man. And I think the last couple years, it's just kind of you kind of take it for granted almost. Every fifth day, this guy's going to go out there and give you a quality start, it feels like. And, he's done little things here and there to get better. His sweeper, slider has always been something that he's always kind of tinkered with over the past couple of years. It seems like he's kind of mastered the art of when to throw it in certain situations, whether it's, throwing a back door in certain situations or, locating it, against a righty or lefty. It seems like you could throw it to both guys pretty confidently. And, every time he goes out there, you feel like you have a good chance to win. He's done nothing but, show that durability each year the last couple of years now. And, we're going on potentially 3 straight seasons where he hasn't missed a start. So he's kind of defying the odds.
That's pretty amazing, by the way, in today's standards.
Yeah, especially a guy like him. I mean, you look at his stature, not the prototypical, starter guy who could be your, number one durable guy, but what is it, 32 starts he's the last 2 years, and he's on track to do it again this year. So he's been, he's not their number one starter, I guess, but, he's been Mr. Consistent for them for sure.
Yeah, and sometimes we get caught up in the moment. The team has lost 7 in a row. I get it. But, you look at overall the team, where they came from in 23, 19 games better than they were, last year. The team is trending. The time is tough right now, but their team's trending better all the time. Look what they got down in the minor leagues. They got some studs down in the minor leagues. They got the guys that are up here with not a ton of experience, but those first and second round draft choices are coming to fruition all at the same time. I think I don't know where the ceiling is for this team, but I think it is enormous what they got going in the future.
Yeah, I think over the last few years, right, where they went through those tough stretches, I think this was the year where they were kind of looking to as, okay, we're going to go through a rough period here, but at the end of this, we're going to have some guys come up who can contribute. And we've seen that. You look at this lineup, it's made of guys who, they accumulated through the draft or the trade, whether it's Lawrence Butler, Shea Langoliers, the list goes on, Nick Kurtz, Jacob Wilson, Zach Geloff when he comes back, hopefully at some point. All these guys came up through the system, whether it was through trade or draft, and they developed as, A's prospects. And even you look at the wave right now, they've got a lot of pitching depth in the minors right now they could tap into if they need to. And that's kind of something that we haven't seen the last few years. Usually, when a guy goes down in the rotation, they're kind of scrambling. You got to pick up a guy on waivers now. You hope nobody gets hurt, but if somebody does go down or they need a guy to come up for a spot start, they got plenty of options down there in AAA and even AA, who are pretty close to the major league level.
Can I follow up on one thing?
Of course.
Johnny, thank you. I want to ask you about Luis Morales. Going to get promoted to AAA, I think, here pretty soon, if not already.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
What do you got on him?
Electric arm. I know in AAA, in spring training, he made a spot, came up for an inning, I think against the Giants. I remember talking to Kate about him. He was raving about him, just kind of the poise he showed out there on the mound. I think he's 22, 21 years old, still really young, but he's moved up through the system and he's earned every promotion that he's gotten. He's got a fastball 97, 98, nasty slider.
Wow.
And I think changeup has turned to his third pitch. It's given a really good third 3-pitch mix down there. And at AA he's been dominant. So I think they want to move him up. It's a lot different now. The development process for these guys, it used to be like a magic number, a certain amount of innings before you can move up a level. Now these guys are pitching well. They're going to move up. We see that with Morales. We saw that with Gage Jump, who they drafted last year. Now he's in AA. So these guys are coming up faster than we used to see them. Maybe even just like five years ago. If you're ready to play, have a seat with Nick Kurtz and Jacob Wilson. They'll bring you up.
Yeah, Jump just had a first outing in Midland, was fantastic.
Yeah. No, he's looking really impressive, and I think he's a guy who, you look at kind of the Baseball America or MLB Pipeline top 100 prospect rankings. Maybe he was a little, nobody really thought that he was that type of guy, but I think you're going to see him start to creep up those lists as one of the top prospects, not just in the A's system, but in all of baseball. He's been that good in such a short amount of time that, scouts, not just within the A's organization, but other teams are raving about this guy.
Hold tight. We got to do Jeffrey Springs real quick.
Good.
Let's just flip-flop right here. Jeffrey Springs coming to be on A's Cast Live. Great to have the lefty on. Don't go anywhere, Martín Gallegos. I still got some questions for you.
Hey, Jeffrey. Steve Sax. Good to see you, Jeffrey.
Good to see you, Jeffrey. How are you?
Good. Doing great.
Good.
There you go.
All right.
Got to tell you, I really, really have been impressed with the way you've thrown the ball in May. And I remember in the dugout at spring training, you and I were talking about, feeling good, feeling healthy, coming into this season where you're not worrying about injury. Now you can really worry about performance. Just talk about the growth this year for you being healthy, and that's what's led to the really good May.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. When you can put, the elbow discomforts and kind of worries, so to speak, behind you, and then you get back to baseball. You get back to, working, every 5 days, working on the delivery, and just kind of trusting, your ability. Then it's reading swings, trying to execute pitches because, that the focus is all on the right things, not the what ifs or how did that feel or, that was a little, this and that, the things you have to go through when you first come back. So it's been great. Obviously,
Still got a lot of work to do, but I feel like everything's trending in the right direction. Now just trying to be as consistent as possible and make those small adjustments to continue to improve each and every time out.
Yeah, Jeffrey, from what I've seen in your improvement, it seems like you improve every time out there. Seems like you've gotten over that hump. And, when you're the best is when you're strike one on hitters, and you seem to be that way nearly every time. And you get a momentum going early in the game. There's no way they can stop you. You just have been pitching phenomenally.
Yeah, so, I mean, that was obviously the Achilles heel there early on, the big first inning. And, unfortunately, I've struggled enough in the past to kind of understand how to try to navigate, games when they don't go so well early on. But, yeah, if I can, fill up the strike zone right away, put the pressure on the hitter and kind of dictate the tempo, I feel like things are going to go in my favor a lot better. But, yeah, it's, continuing to work on that and trying to get strike one is kind of the ultimate goal.
Yep.
Your start in San Francisco was unreal. First pitch home run. Then after that, you threw a perfect game for 20 batters. I mean, you were just on fire.
Yeah.
Talk about the fastball changeup combination. Obviously, they play so well. And then when you have the breaking ball going too, you're able to compete in the strike zone in every part of the strike zone.
Yeah. So, I mean, first pitch of the game, not quite where I wanted to throw it. Wanted, to establish the inner half. That's kind of been a focal point the last few outings, trying to, establish that side so hitters don't try to, eliminate a third and kind of just see the changeup out over, which, you saw in some of the outings that didn't go great. For someone like me, I have to move the ball around. I want to establish in. I want to, drive the fastball up and into righties because once it gets there, it's not quite where I would like it, but the changeup has typically been there. It's been a kind of a hit or miss this year, but, once I can run pitches into right-handers and then I have that, in my back pocket, then it's just the back and forth with the hitter, kind of seeing which way they're going to go, try to cover, and then it's just me going the other way, pivoting and, reading their swings and kind of reading what they're trying to do.
I love your pitching inside of those right-hand hitters. I love the fact that you pitch on all four quadrants of the plate. That's what you got to do coming from a hitter standpoint. Those guys are terribly nasty that can pitch on all four quadrants and change speeds like you do. But I wanted to ask you if you feel like your changeup is actually better than you thought that day than it was in the bullpen. You come out to the mound, it's really working. Are you going to kind of lean into that a little bit more, or are you going to try to disperse the pitches, equally?
Yeah, I think, yes, when, you feel a pitch is better than it typically is that day, you kind of just roll with it. And that's, that's kind of what I did in LA. I felt like the slider was better than the changeup. So it was, and then you just let the hitters kind of dictate what you need to do. At least that's what I try to do. It was better in San Francisco, but like I said, against the Dodgers, they crushed changeups. It wasn't very good. So it's like, all right, I'm going to go breaking ball more so. That's probably the first time I feel like probably my career, my slider was more than my fastball. But just kind of letting the flow of the game dictate, what I'm going to do, trying not to force certain pitches. But yes, if something's working, I'm going to roll with it until they make the adjustment. And then, when they make the adjustment, it's on me to make, pivot back and forth. And that's what I love about pitching. It's, the chess match between me and the hitter. And that's what I really enjoy. But yeah, it just kind of let whatever's working that inning, that day, kind of dictate, pitch usage and just kind of trying to roll with what the game's doing.
Yep.
Every team is going to have highs. Every team's going to have lows. It's a streaky game. It is what it is. You're on a losing streak right now. Just take us inside the clubhouse. What's this mentality like, the losing streak, especially with a lot of young players?
I mean, obviously nobody wants to play like we're playing, but I think the consensus in the locker room is that we got really good players. We've been really good. Maybe there's a little bit of pressing here and there to come up with the big pitch or the big hit. We do got a few older guys in there that are just kind of like, hey, take a deep breath, relax. It's a long season. This 7-game stretch or whatever it is isn't going to dictate our season. We're still going to be where we want to be at the end of this. But it's just kind of, take a deep breath, let the game come to us, stop trying to press a little bit. And, we saw how talented we are early on. We can win a lot of ball games, and we know that. It's just kind of, little reminder. And then, just kind of take a deep breath. I think the day is going to be, a turning point for us.
Well, thanks for stopping by, and good luck against Philly.
Yeah, thank y'all. Appreciate it.
Jeffrey Springs getting it done for the Athletics.
Yes.
So it's his first time here on the set. We hadn't had him yet.
He did a great job. Thank you, Jeffrey.
Good to have him on. Jeffrey Springs. In May, his numbers are
fantastic.
Yeah,
they really are.
Flat out dominant.
Yes.
And Martín Gallegos back with us here. from MLB.com. And yeah, talking about his May. Wow, and that start in San Francisco was crazy. First pitch home run. After that, retired the next 20 guys.
20 in a row. I asked our research team to look it up. I was wondering what was the record for most consecutive batters after giving up a leadoff hit. He's got the record now. Him and Ken
That's
Holtzman,
the record?
Ken Holtzman and Catfish Hunter, who were back in the 70s, 20 in a row. That's the A's record for most consecutive batters retired after giving up a leadoff hit to begin a game. So
not only that, it was a home run, first pitch.
Yep. First pitch home run.
Elliot Ramos, huh?
Yeah.
First pitch.
First pitch, bang.
Yeah.
I mean, I was looking at my scorebook. I looked down, because we were in the studios in San Francisco. I looked down and go, he's got a perfect game other than that first pitch.
Yeah, I couldn't believe. I was in my house and I saw the first pitch and I just slumped back in my chair and I said, I don't want to see another one of these games today. And then he goes off and reels 20 straight.
That is a good point.
Yeah.
I don't want to see one of those games. We've seen too many of those games this year.
Yeah. It seems like the last week or so, especially, it's been like the same game over and over again, right? Where it's like you're waiting for that breakthrough and it just hasn't been able to come through. And yesterday, it kind of felt like they were at that point that they have that big inning with Kurtz at the home run, Langlear's homers, and you're feeling good. And then Gunnar Hoagland, that fifth inning, just that long at bat that he had to Rengifo kind of shifted the whole game. He gives up the 3-run homer, and then you're back to kind of what you've been dealing with all year. So it's a struggle to kind of break through that.
Yeah. Again, I go back to the thing about getting ticked off.
Yeah.
And damn, we're not taking this anymore. And what he said was really important. He knows how talented the team is. This is an extremely talented team, loaded with talent. I mean, there's not a GM out there right now that wouldn't like to have a team with this kind of talent. I'm serious. It's loaded with talent. And it's just about, hey, listen, some of it's inexperience.
Yeah.
They don't have a lot of guys with big experience on the team, but they got a ton of talent.
Yeah, no question. I mean, and you look at just, things change so quickly, right? 2 weeks ago, before this stretch, they're one of the best offenses in baseball. Statistically, you look at it, it was them, the Dodgers, the Padres.
Right.
These are the three top offenses in baseball. And, the at-bats haven't gotten that much worse. It's just, like I said, the lack of, having that big hit. They've run into a lot of good pitching staffs, no question. You got to give some credit there. But, again, all these guys are going through, like I said, their first, second years in the big leagues. Even a guy like Brent Rooker, who's like the quote-unquote veteran of this team, there's only his second or third full big league season that he's ever had. These guys are all still going through that grind.
It's just
trying to establish
his
themselves.
third full. Because everywhere, whether it was Minnesota, San
less than
Diego,
half a
Kansas City, it was in and out. I mean, this is really his third full season.
And he's like I said, the quote unquote veteran. All these guys are still, they haven't been up here that long. They haven't gone through those ups and downs. And you want to see a guy just can always be good, but that's just not going to happen. 99% of these guys are going to go through these ups and downs. So they're fighting through it. They're trying to get through it.
Yeah.
You worried about the pitching?
I think the bullpen has been a little bit more of it's been, they've been worked a lot early, and I think we started to see the signs of it the last couple of weeks. It was dominant when they were going well. That bullpen was closing out games. But again, a lot of that goes back to the offense not adding on late, and so they have to be more perfect late in games. They haven't been able to do that. But I think rotation-wise, like I said, they got a lot of options there, and they're still trying to work things out. Obviously, we had Beto and Estes here to start the year. They're gone now. Now you got Hoagland in there. JT Ginn goes on the IL, and they're still deciding who's going to come up to make that start. But I think with Severino, Springs, and Sears, you got a pretty good front end of your rotation. And now it's just, can you get those guys consistent, get the bats going again, and hope the bullpen can kind of return to form like they were showing before the stretch.
What about Jay Will? What about that injury?
I don't think it's long term. I think, Kotsay said today he might be available off the bench. So it's no cause for concern.
It looked like it didn't hit him in a terrible spot right here, right?
Yeah, I talked to Wilson yesterday. He didn't seem concerned at all. Obviously the x-rays came back negative, which was good. And I think it's more just kind of the swelling. It's still there a little bit, but I don't think it's anything too crazy. I think, we might even see him back in the starting lineup tomorrow.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. That's good.
Well, and one player that I know people have talked about on the post-game show, and Cody and I have kicked it around a little bit. I like watching Max Schumann play. Max Schumann does all the little things.
Yeah, he's been so good for this team at that role, and it's tough for a young guy. In the minor leagues, he was playing every day, maybe different positions, but he was playing every day. Now up here, he's playing once or twice a week, come off the bench, pinch run, but he's handled it so well, and he's kind of like Chad Pinder, like we had a few years back, right? He could play everything. Where you put him in the outfield, you put him at third, short, second, he could do it all. So I mean, if you don't want to lose Jacob Wilson, but he'd be a really he could definitely fill in for him if you needed him at shortstop or anywhere else. He could play every day in a pinch, and that's rare to find. A guy who's a true super utility guy. He is that guy. He can play everywhere.
I wanted to ask you, over a period of time throughout the course of the season, do you think Andujar can hold down third base?
He's looked surprisingly well over there. I think there was a lot of concern. He hasn't played over there in a few years, but he's handled it well. He's making all the routine plays.
Yeah.
And it seems like, he hasn't missed a beat. It's tough when you're, been playing outfield the last few years, but he did come up as a third baseman. Maybe it's a little bit of a throwback for him. He doesn't, you got to, get the reps there again, but he's done a decent job there. And obviously his bat, you got to find a place for him, right? He's so good with the bat, hitting over 300 that, wherever he plays, you got to get him in the lineup.
You want him to play every day, but that's always kind of dangerous. Talk about that kind of like, I want to grind him. I want him but I know if you do that, what's going to come.
Yeah, with him, he's obviously got a little bit of an injury history as well. So I think that's a part of why they didn't want to play him in outfield too much, because a lot of that running out there might, hurt his knees a little bit. I know they talked about playing him at DH a little bit in spring training. He hasn't done a whole lot of that this year. It's been mostly third base and left, but I think he could even play some first base if they need Kurtz, give him a day off. And, he's another guy who's kind of versatile. And you see that up and down this roster. These guys can play everywhere, whether it's first and third, outfield. These guys are, utility guys. And I think that's kind of what they wanted this roster to look like, a team that, if you need a guy to get a day off, you could plug in a guy in an instant there and they can play it.
I think one thing we saw, too, that was good is Nick Kurtz made a bit of an adjustment.
Yeah.
They were getting ahead of him in the count. He was 0-1, 0-2 so many times. And then yesterday you saw him for that first pitch, hit that ball out of the ballpark. I think that's good. That shows a lot of maturity. It shows him making those micro changes that you have to make at the plate. Now they're going to come back and make a change on him. And then they're going to, like Jeffrey Springs said, they're going to go back and forth on this. But I think that was big of him to go out there, first pitch, bang, he nailed it, which he hasn't been doing.
Yeah, he's obviously, I think the track record with him is, he's a patient hitter at the plate, which they liked about it. His advanced approach, he's not going to go up there swinging wildly. But, yeah, I think he did identify that pitchers were attacking him, and it was, time to kind of make a change and maybe be a little more aggressive, and it worked for him yesterday. But, he's another guy. We talked about inexperience. This guy was in college last year taking classes at Wake Forest.
He was at Wake Forest.
Now he's facing major league pitchers. It's just crazy. He's earned every, this fast rise, but another guy who's learning on the fly, still trying to, countering what the pitchers are doing to him. But I think he's done a good job. And you talk to him in the clubhouse, he's a guy who's really, smart guy, level-headed, and, he's got a good head on his shoulders. So I think he's a guy who's built to kind of go through these struggles and eventually see through the final product.
He can handle it. Yeah.
Well, before spring showed up, you mentioned Geloff's name. Where are we with Zach Geloff?
It's been tough for him, man. He looked like he was close to coming back. He went on that rehab assignment, and then he had a setback with a rib issue, and he still hasn't started a swing position. He's doing some, workout stuff, but he's still not swinging a bat yet. So it's still kind of wait and see with him day to day before he starts that. But obviously that sets him back. They were hoping by June, maybe even late May, that he might be back. Obviously now you're looking at probably pushing the All-Star break, if that. So it's been tough for him. Obviously he was a big part of this team. You hope that he could be, in the middle of this lineup somewhere at some point, and now it's going to be a little bit longer for him. Luis Urias has done a really good job at second base, but obviously you want a guy like Geloff who's dynamic, who could, even though he went through a down year last year, he had the power, he had the speed, he kind of changes this offense a little bit more. So it's going to be a little bit longer before we see him.
Yeah. Martin, what do you think about the outfield? You got Soderstrom, looks like he's figured it out.
Yeah.
He was pretty seamless out there in left field. You had Butler in right. He's played some center. You have Blade, having some struggles out there. And now we see that there's just a little bit of moving around. Where do you see this thing kind of settling out throughout the course of the season?
Yeah, there's no question center field has kind of been, a struggle for them to try to figure out what they want to do out there. Blade, you want him to kind of take that role, but, look at the numbers. Numbers don't lie. It's been a struggle out there in center field defensively. And, part of it is adjusting to this park. It's different, with the wind and everything, but also it just, he hasn't looked like the same guy that we saw last year. And I think, going through hitting struggles on top of the defense doesn't help because he's trying to work through some things at the plate. But I think they're still kind of trying to figure out their long-term solution there. And they've got other guys potentially who could come up at some point this year, obviously at the minor league level, whether it's a guy like a Denzel Clark or a Colby Thomas. These guys are close to major league ready. So, I think they're still trying to decide long-term what they're going to do, especially in center field. But like you said, Soderstrom's looked pretty seamless out there for a guy who never played left field. And Butler has gotten better, but I think he's a guy who will tell you he's still looking to improve out there as well in right field.
20 home runs, 43 doubles last year for Blade. It's just like it's in there.
Yeah. Well, that's why they give him that. I think that's why they've given him such a long opportunity here to kind of work through it, because they know the talent's in there. We saw it last year. He was one of their most consistent hitters. So to see him go through these struggles, it's been tough. We asked Kotze about it yesterday. He said he was working on an adjustment in spring training going to this year that maybe didn't work out too much. So now they're trying to fix that with Darren Bush and maybe work on simplifying things at the plate a little bit. But it's tough when you go through a year like last year. I'm sure he probably felt like, this is just the start of something big for me. And, now to go through and not have that success that you had last year, it's tough to kind of work through that. And he's another guy who's only a couple of years into the big league. He's still going through that process as well.
Yeah. About the bullpen, I wanted to my last one on the bullpen. I mean, some inconsistencies there. I mean, they really have rested pretty good, and there hasn't been a lot of opportunities lately for Mason Miller. Do you think we're going to see him soon and maybe get some work in? You got to kind of balance that with what if you need him in the next 2 days after that. So it's a tough one.
Yeah, it is. Especially with him, with his injury history, I think they've always been a little bit shied away from trying to overwork him too much. But yeah, he hasn't pitched since that San Francisco series. I know he was warming up yesterday, and maybe there was a thought that they put him in there with that 1-run deficit. But I think getting him consistent as well. He started off the year really well. His last few outings, he still physically looks fine, but just maybe some hiccups with location. And I mean that Giants game was tough, and that for him to be sitting on that, you don't want him to sit on that for too long. So maybe we see him come in here, and get him some action here before this big weekend series against the Phillies as well.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing, just looking at the standings, no one's going to run away and hide.
Yeah,
that's true.
So it's like you got to get your act together. You got to play your part. I mean, we can sit here and talk all we want about the other teams, but no one's going to run away and hide. But you got to play your part.
No,
you got to end this. Some's got to get the body language. This team plays its best when it's got a little swagger. Right now, it has no swagger.
Yeah, and I think when you're going through something like that, you start to press, especially a lot of these young guys. I think there's definitely a sense of guys pressing a little bit, and it's going to take one big performance. Whether it's like one big swing of the bat or one 4-for-4 day from somebody. I think they just need one guy to kind of pick them up and carry them a little bit. And maybe we get that tonight, or maybe it could come on the mound. JP Sears having a really solid outing. Maybe that can get them going, but they need one guy to kind of step up and kind of carry the load for one night. And I think that'll help ease everything.
I thought so too, Martin. I think they need some one-off to happen. You need the bases loaded and a flare over the first baseman's head and rolls around and everybody scores and the next guy hits a bomb. And you need actually a big blowout game would be fantastical right now, wouldn't it?
Yeah, big offensive day for sure, where the bats are just going. I think
just hammering away.
Well. Yeah,
don't save any runs. Go out and get them involved in one day.
Quickly, any big surprises for you on the 25 season, other than outside of the A's world?
Outside of the A's world, let's see here.
Judge hitting 400. How sick is that?
Detroit's the best team in baseball.
Yeah, Detroit's been really good.
The best pitcher.
Judge. We shouldn't be surprised, I guess, but it isn't crazy to just look at those numbers, man. Seeing him up close here, those few games, it's just you watch that guy.
Dude like that with all the holes because he's so big and he's still hitting 400 because he hits like a middle infielder.
No,
he's right center the whole time.
Yeah, it's impressive. There's been a lot of, on this team alone. Jacob Wilson, what he's doing this year. I don't think anybody saw this coming right away. I think we thought it was going to be good, but it's been fun to watch. There's been surprises on this team. Soderstrom as well. There's been some surprises on this team also.
Great stuff. We appreciate the time.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Martín Gallegos, MLB.com. Coming up next, we got Johnny D and Ken Korak getting you ready for A's baseball.
For A's video content, get access to great highlights, exclusive behind-the-scenes content, classic games, A's Cast Live, and more. Visit youtube.com/athletics.
This has been a presentation of The Athletics.